Manscaped, the leaders in below the waistline grooming. And more importantly, their performance package, the 4.0. That's the one I like to use because it does keep them short and curlies short and nice and neat looking. You know, they say if you keep the grass low, the tree will continue to show. But the way you do that is with that Lawnmower 4.0, the one that has the light that goes on and off the different guards. I mean, it is waterproof. It is one of those things where it prevents or really helps reduce those nicks and cuts because nobody wants to get nicked and cut down there. That is not cool in any circumstances. All right. But then on top of that, man, when you talk about all the other products that they dish out, man, the revolver for your revolver, not a revolver. You don't want a revolver on your dangly twins. You want a reviver down there. You want a toner down there. Definitely don't want a revolver down there. Whatever you do, don't put that down there. All right. But on top of that, if we're going to talk about anything, we're going to have promo codes for you, baby. And this promo code is as simple as it can be. It's MOATS. You use that, you get 20% off along with free shipping worldwide at manscaped.com. So stop wasting times. Make sure you go ahead and handle what you need to handle so that way your short and dangly twins and friends and whoever else gets to interact will be enjoying themselves. So shout out to Manscaped. With this particular matchup, though, man, there's multiple reasons to feel good about it. Number one, for us defensively, man, we're getting healthy. Love the fact that we're getting Mag healthy because we're the place that we're getting healthy at will be our strengths versus their weaknesses, man. When you're talking about our pass rush, when you talk about TJ Watt in particular versus their offensive line, they have been struggling to protect. We talked about the sack numbers for both Dalton and Winston. They are forced to kind of get rid of the ball faster or go to some of their gadgety stuff to generate some of the downfield action. But having a TJ back out there will be a big factor in that. And I think that continues to create that hostile environment. And we know when it comes to Andy Dalton, he doesn't handle pressure well. He doesn't handle being sped up well. That's one of the things that when we played him all the time when he was in Cincy, we would come in this thing with blitz packages because we knew, man, we're going to confuse him on the back end because when it's happening fast, he can't process it that way. He's just not that caliber quarterback. And a lot of guys aren't. And that's why we talk about pressure being so significant. But when you're adding TJ, that's huge. But when you also talk about on the back end, DeMonte Casey, healthy, coming back, that's also huge because this is another guy that can create splash plays. And when you're getting a quarterback that's going to be sped up, that doesn't make the best decisions while he's playing faster than he's accustomed to, and you multiply that with guys on the back end that are healthy that can create those plays, that's the situation that we need. That's how you create splash plays. That's how you get this offense that is still figuring themselves out. They're improving, but they're still figuring it out. How do you help them? Get them more possessions. Get them short fields. I don't want them to have to keep going 10, 12, 15 plays to score a touchdown. Man, you get them that ball on the 30-yard line, short field, 3 plays, touchdown. That's a confidence booster. That makes you feel good about yourself. That makes the quarterback believe it. That makes the coordinator believe. That makes the receivers believe. That makes us as fans feel like we can score. Versus you always having to drive the length of the field. And now when it gets to the end of the drive, yeah, the execution isn't there where it needs to be, but guys are a little bit more fatigued. Defenses have made adjustments. A lot can happen with that. So I do feel like this is going to be a huge asset for us. Some of the things that I think that we're going to have to, I want it to be improved, but I'm still a little skeptical, is our rushing attack this week. Because that is something that they are violent against, man. You talk about Demario Davis, man. He helps them out a lot. Their front, in terms of how they play defense, man, they keep him clean. He is able to roam and make those type of plays. But when they're able to make offenses one-dimensional, that's when they're at their best because they are definitely geared up to rush the passer and play pass defense. That's what they're designed for. But we got to find a way to get them out of that. And it's really going to depend on how committed we want to be to the running game. If we really commit to it, we can have success. Baltimore has success, but granted, Baltimore, you understand the style of running attack that they operate with in terms of the formation, the scheme itself. But regardless of that, this is a Saints unit where their defense, yes, they are really good. Yes, they have players, but it is one that we still should be able to move the ball on and have success on as well. So I'm definitely liking both of those elements for this particular matchup right now.
That's what I'm thinking about their defense, dude. Like, the stats say their pass coverage is pretty solid. They're only giving up like 200 yards per game. But there have been times quarterbacks have taken advantage of their secondary. Yeah. And my eye test is telling me they're not that amazing. I've seen too many quarterbacks hit guys, where it's
Bro,
just bad
Geno
coverage on the
was
Saints.
Geno was
Particularly,
carving them up.
well, yeah, and particularly now them not having Marcus Lattimore, or Marshawn Lattimore. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then their run game, again, is kind of like you mentioned. Teams have had a lot of success, and I'd say between the two, between their pass defense and rush defense, that's their weakest part. Our run game just sucks, though. That's the unfortunate thing, because there's a ton of teams that have had success against the Saints running the ball, but a lot of it has been teams that run the ball very successfully and just have good running games.
And they're more committed to it as well. We talked about part of the reason why our running game isn't as good is we don't commit to it on that level. If we commit to it, I do think we can have a lot of success running against them, but I just don't know if we're going to commit to it or not.
Like, even the Bengals, they didn't really commit against the Saints, but they were averaging like 5 yards a carry. It was more of like a Burrow game, but man, it just makes me think, like, Saints are cool. Like, they're a good team.
Yeah.
They got the pedigree and everything. They got some of the players, but man, I just really don't think they're like all that amazing. Maybe that's why their record's 3-6. But it's not one of those teams where you could lay down for it. I know it's the NFL. You're not doing that for any team, but I feel like they're also solid. There's this weird Jekyll and Hyde thing I feel about the Saints. Like, I feel like they could play with anyone. They could beat any team.
They're just like the Pittsburgh Steelers in the sense that they have talent. They're inconsistent.
Pretty good
the
point,
difference
actually.
is this.
Pretty good
to
point.
me, they have just slightly more veteran players at certain positions. When we talk about Najee versus Kamara, Najee's averaging 3.3. Kamara's averaging 4.3. Keeps them on schedule. When you talk about Dalton or Jameis versus Mitch and Pickett, those guys are more veteran. Those guys have had higher ceilings, right, in terms of Pro Bowls, have already led teams, have been guys other places, just more mature there. You talk about their number one receiver, Olave, 600 receiving yards. We talk about our number one receiver, Deontay, 300 receiving yards. We talk about our offensive line versus their offensive line. They're just slightly better in those areas. Our defense versus their defense. Our Miles Jack is their Demario Davis. Think about it. Our Minka Fitzpatrick is their Tyrann Mathieu.
I feel like our defense is, if you want to talk about their offense maybe being slightly better.
Defense,
yeah, right.
When healthy, though. That's the because they have the Cam Jordan, we have a TJ Watt. When healthy, that's the one, right?
But then we also have like a Cam Hayward, we got a Highsmith.
Yeah. So it's like we have, it's like I said, the same team. It's just they're slightly better or slightly more mature in other areas than we are right now. And then we've obviously had the injuries just the injuries on defense that have really hurt us at times in terms of not being able to consistently rely on what we want to rely on. If they lost to Cam Jordan, it would reflect. If they didn't have a Demario Davis, it would reflect. If Tyrann Mathieu was struggling, it will reflect. So when you talk about Marshawn Lattimore not being out there, it shows. So to me, we are very much identical, and that's why we feel as good as we feel. But it's funny, if you listen to Saints radio, if you look on Saints blogs, they're saying the same thing in terms of why they're excited about this matchup, because they're like, hey,
they shouldn't be.
This is a team that's struggling. This is a team that doesn't do this. TJ's coming back, but how rusty is he going to be? What is it going to look like? Is he really healthy? So they're saying those similar things. They're looking at our quarterback and saying, hey, man, he's got some things, man. He got a nice little pass, but he's turning the ball over. Their offense kind of limited. They got good players. So the parallels are there for both of us, but that's why if you're a Steelers fan, we feel really good about this. And rightfully so. And that's why I like us a lot in this matchup, man. So
well, I was going to say, I guess one more thing, because we're getting on time here, 11:28. One more thing, though. In terms of difference between the teams, though, we do better with the turnovers. Well, I know we're turning the ball over on offense, but at least we're getting some takeaways on defense. Yes. Yeah, with the interception stuff. Saints have the worst turnover differential in the league. They throw the picks, fumble the ball on offense and everything, but they can't take away the ball on defense. They do got a few forced fumbles, but then they only have 2 picks on the season. So that's not a good formula for them. Yeah. Coming into Pittsburgh, defense should be riled up here. We got to be able to get 1 or 2 from Dalton. We have to.
He's put it like this. The same way we said versus Tua, he will give you opportunities. It's going to be on us to capitalize. If we capitalize on these opportunities, everything will be fine. We will be enjoying ourselves on Sunday. If we don't capitalize on them and we allow them to extend drives because we don't catch the ones that he throws to us, we're going to be in here on Monday pissed off talking about woulda, coulda, and shoulda and who we should be firing and this and that, But this is one of those ones that we should take care of business, and we have to take care of business, man. We have to, man.
That's what Thomas said. Put up or shut up.
Absolutely, man.